You're at a stoplight. A station wagon pulls up next to your modified Mustang. You're not worried. It's got roof rails and a kid's car seat in the back. Light turns green. You launch. The wagon vanishes. That's the moment you realize you just got gapped by a Japanese family hauler with a turbocharged engine and all-wheel drive that costs less than your exhaust system. Japan didn't just build sleeper cars, they weaponized the concept. These 11 machines prove the most dangerous cars on the road are the ones you never see coming. Number 11, 2004 Subaru Legacy GT Wagon. This is what happens when Subaru takes a WRX STI, removes everything that screams performance car, and disguises it as transportation for middle-aged professionals with Costco memberships. The Legacy GT Wagon looked like every other family hauler clogging up the carpool lane. Roof rails, practical cargo space. Your insurance agent would approve. Under the hood sat a 2.5-liter turbocharged boxer engine cranking out 250 horsepower and 250 pound-feet of torque. Symmetrical all-wheel drive. 6-speed manual. This grocery getter hit 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds, faster than a contemporary Porsche Boxster. The suspension, borrowed from the WRX platform, meant this wagon could actually handle. It carved corners with sports car confidence while maintaining enough comfort for your daily commute. Inside was pure practicality. Supportive seats, fold-flat rear seats, nothing that would raise suspicion, just a well-built interior that did its job without drawing attention. The Legacy GT wagon was the ultimate Q-ship. It looked slow, acted normal in traffic, and only revealed its true nature when you planted your right foot. Number 10, 1991 Toyota Crown Athlete V. Japan had a secret weapon that never made it to American shores, and most Western car enthusiasts have no idea it even exists. The Toyota Crown Athlete V looked like a luxury sedan designed for Japanese businessmen in their 60s. Conservative styling, chrome trim, zero street cred. Then Toyota dropped a 1JZ GTE twin turbocharged inline 6 under the hood. That engine produced 280 horsepower, though real output was closer to 300. The Crown could hit 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds. Which sounds modest until you remember this was a full-size luxury sedan weighing over 3,400 pounds. Twin turbos meant power delivery was smooth and effortless. It would glide past sports cars on the highway while the driver sipped coffee and listened to jazz. The interior matched the exterior's understated luxury. Leather seats, wood trim, advanced climate control. This wasn't a stripped-down race car, it was a genuinely comfortable cruiser with serious performance hiding beneath its conservative wrapper. The Crown Athlete V never achieved legendary status because most people outside Japan don't even know it exists. But those who do understand, it's one of the most effective sleepers ever built. Number 9, 1998 Nissan Stagea 260 RS. Nissan looked at the legendary R34 GT-R and asked a simple question. What if we stuffed that entire drivetrain into a station wagon? The answer was the Stagea 260 RS, and it's exactly as ridiculous as it sounds. This thing had the RB26 twin turbocharged inline 6. The same engine that made the GT-R a legend. 280 horsepower officially, closer to 320 in reality. A Tesla all-wheel drive. The full GT-R mechanical package wrapped in a body designed for hauling luggage and children. 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds. Quarter mile in the low 13 seconds. Supercar numbers hiding behind sliding rear doors and roof racks. The Stagea didn't look aggressive, it looked practical. Park it in a grocery store lot and nobody would give it a second glance. Until you started it up and that RB26 howl announced something wasn't adding up. The interior was surprisingly well appointed with actual cargo space you could use. This wasn't a gutted race car pretending to be practical, it was genuinely useful transportation that just happened to share DNA with one of the fastest production cars of its era. Number 8, 2006 Mazda Atenza / Mazda6 MPS. Mazda took one of the most forgettable midsize sedans on the market and turned it into a weapons-grade sleeper that rental car companies accidentally handed to unsuspecting customers. The Mazda6 MPS looked identical to the base model your coworker drove to the office every day. Same conservative body, same I'm responsible and financially stable energy. Nothing suggested performance. Then Mazda dropped in a 2.3-liter turbocharged inline 4 producing 260 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. All-wheel drive, 6-speed manual. This boring family sedan hit 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds with with a top speed of 155 miles per hour. The turbo delivered power deceptively smooth. No violent surge, just consistent, building acceleration. By the time other drivers realized what was happening, you were already gone. The AWD system sent power where it was needed most, giving the MPS handling that embarrassed dedicated sports cars. The interior gave away nothing. Standard Mazda6 dashboard, comfortable cloth seats, a few MPS badges if you looked closely, 4 doors, practical trunk, real back seats, genuinely useful as daily transportation. Mazda built a car that could blend into traffic, haul your family, then absolutely smoke unsuspecting victims who thought they were racing a rental car. Number 7, 1989 Toyota Soarer 2.5 GTT. The Toyota Soarer was what happened when Toyota decided to build a luxury grand tourer for Japanese executives, then secretly gave it the performance to embarrass European sports cars. This thing looked like a Lexus before Lexus officially existed in Japan. Smooth lines, pop-up headlights, a body designed for cruising highways and comfort, not setting lap records. Under that refined exterior sat a 1JZ GTE twin turbocharged inline-6 producing 280 horsepower. The Soarer could hit 0 to 60 in 6.3 seconds with a top speed electronically limited to 112 miles per hour, but the engine had far more to give. The twin turbos delivered power with luxury car smoothness. No harsh transitions, just seamless acceleration that felt effortless. You could merge onto highways and carve through mountain roads without ever disrupting the cabin's zen-like calm. Inside offered genuine luxury, supple leather, digital instrumentation, climate control that actually worked. This wasn't a sports car with token comfort, it was a legitimate grand tourer that could also perform. The Soarer flew completely under the radar. It looked like transportation for people who valued refinement over speed, but plant your foot and it transformed into something that could run with Porsches and BMWs, all while maintaining that gentlemanly composure. Number 6, 2003 Honda Accord Euro R CL7. Honda took the most vanilla family sedan in their lineup, added 3 letters to the badge, and created a machine that could outcorner cars costing 3 times as much. The Accord Euro R was Japan only, which means most people have never heard of it. It looked identical to the base model Accord your aunt drove. Nothing suggested this car was special. Under the hood sat Honda's K20A engine, 220 horsepower, 8,000 RPM redline, front-wheel drive with a limited slip differential. But the real magic happened above 6,000 RPM when VTEC kicked in and the engine absolutely howled. Honda didn't just bolt in a hot engine, they stiffened the chassis, upgraded the suspension with Bilstein dampers, added Brembo brakes. The result was a sedan that handled with precision that made you forget it was front-wheel drive. Inside, Recaro seats provided actual support. Red accents reminded you this wasn't normal, but it was still a comfortable, practical sedan with 4 doors and a usable trunk. The Accord Euro R was the thinking person's sleeper. It required skill to extract its potential, but drivers who understood what they had could destroy flashier cars driven by people who assumed an Accord couldn't possibly keep up. Number 5, 1993 Nissan Pulsar GTI-R. Nissan needed to homologate a car for Group A rally racing. They looked at their lineup and chose the most unlikely candidate possible, a tiny Econobox hatchback that looked like it should be delivering pizzas. The Pulsar GTI-R was Nissan's middle finger to conventional thinking. This thing had the SR20 turbocharged inline-4 producing 227 horsepower, all-wheel drive borrowed from the Skyline GT-R, a body that weighed just 2,600 pounds, 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds, quarter mile in the mid-13s, supercar acceleration wrapped in a shell that looked like a college student's first car. The SR20 was legendary, overbuilt, responsive, and capable of handling serious boost. Power delivery was immediate and violent once you cracked the throttle. This was raw, unfiltered performance. Nissan's Atessa all-wheel drive system meant the Pulsar could launch like it was shot from a cannon. No wheel spin, no drama, just traction and forward momentum that left longer, more powerful cars scrambling. The exterior gave away the game if you knew what to look for. Bulging fenders, functional hood scoop, aggressive stance. But to the average person, it still looked like basic transportation. Inside was stripped down function, manual everything, minimal sound deadening, Recaro buckets. This wasn't built for luxury, it was built to win races. The Pulsar GTI-R proved you didn't need exotic styling to be genuinely fast. You just needed the right drivetrain and zero interest in what people thought. Number 4, 1999 Mitsubishi Legnum VR4. Mitsubishi looked at their gallant VR4 performance sedan, stretched the roof, added a rear hatch, and created a station wagon that absolutely nobody outside Japan has heard of. The Legnum VR4 2004 was a ghost. No Western market presence, no racing pedigree casual fans remember, just a boxy wagon that looked like it belonged hauling kids and groceries, except it had the full VR4 treatment, twin turbocharged 2.5-liter V6 producing 280 horsepower, though real output was closer to 300, all-wheel drive. The Legnum could sprint to 60 miles per hour in under 6 seconds, which was absurd for a vehicle designed to carry camping gear. That twin-turbo V6 delivered smooth, relentless power. The turbos spooled quickly, and once they lit up, acceleration felt endless. Muscular, effortless power that just kept building. Mitsubishi's AWD system meant traction was never a question. Launch control built in. Wet roads irrelevant. The Legnum gripped and went, carving through corners with confidence that shouldn't exist in a wagon this practical. Inside was typical Japanese practical luxury. Comfortable seats, decent materials, enough space to actually use it as a wagon. Genuinely functional transportation that could also destroy sports cars. The Legnum VR4 never achieved icon status because most enthusiasts don't even know it exists. It's the ultimate sleeper, so obscure that explaining what it is requires a history lesson. Number 3. 1990 Toyota Chaser Tourer V JZX90. The Toyota Chaser looked like the car your grandfather would drive to his weekly bridge game. 4 doors, conservative styling, absolutely nothing that suggested performance. The automotive equivalent of beige wallpaper. Then the drift scene discovered it and everything changed. Under that forgettable exterior sat the legendary 1JZ GTE twin turbocharged inline 6. 280 horsepower officially, closer to 300 in reality. Rear-wheel drive, near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution, everything you needed to turn a family sedan into a tire-shredding missile. The 1JZ delivered linear power that felt effortless. No lag, no sudden kick, just consistent acceleration that kept pulling harder. The engine loved to rev, loved boost, and loved being abused. 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds, but straight-line speed wasn't the point. The Chaser's real talent was chassis balance. Rear-wheel drive with front-engine layout meant it rotated through corners with precision. Kick the rear end out and it would hold a drift angle like it was designed for it. The suspension was soft enough for daily comfort but responsive enough for serious driving. Cruise highways without drama, then take it to a mountain pass and carve corners with confidence. Inside was pure Japanese sedan practicality. Cloth seats, basic dashboard, nothing that would raise eyebrows, just transportation. The Chaser became a drift legend because it offered everything drivers needed: power, balance, and durability, wrapped in a body so boring that nobody saw it coming. Number 2. 2004 Subaru Forester STI. Subaru took their compact SUV, a vehicle designed for camping trips, and gave it the full STI treatment. The result was one of the most absurd sleepers ever built. This wasn't a crossover trying to be sporty. This was a legitimate performance machine that just happened to have extra ground clearance. The Forester STI packed the full WRX STI drivetrain, EJ257 turbocharged boxer producing 265 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque, symmetrical all-wheel drive, 6-speed manual, STI tuned suspension, Brembo brakes. This was the real deal. 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds, quarter mile in the mid-13s, sports car numbers from something that looked like it should be hauling kayaks. The performance was genuinely shocking. That turbocharged boxer delivered power with the characteristic Subaru rumble. The all-wheel drive system meant traction was absolute. Launch it hard and all 4 wheels clawed at the pavement simultaneously. But the Forester STI wasn't just about straight-line speed. The STI tuned suspension gave it handling that defied physics. Body roll was minimal, turn-in was sharp. It carved through corners with precision that made you forget you were sitting higher off the ground. Brembo brakes provided stopping power that matched the acceleration. No fade, no drama, but it was still a practical Forester with room for 5 and a massive cargo area. Track on Saturday, move furniture on Sunday. The Forester STI was Japan only. It remains one of the most effective sleepers ever built, an SUV that could embarrass Corvettes while carrying more cargo than any sports car. Number 1. 1995 Honda Odyssey RA1 JDM. This isn't the minivan you're thinking of. The first generation JDM Honda Odyssey wasn't some family hauler with sliding doors. It was something far more interesting. Honda built the RA1 Odyssey on a low, sleek chassis that sat closer to the ground than most sedans. And then Honda gave it the F22B VTEC VTEC engine with a manual transmission available. The F22B produced 156 horsepower, which sounds modest until you remember this thing only weighed 2,900 pounds. 0 to 60 in around 8 seconds, quick enough to surprise anyone who thought they were racing a minivan. VTEC kicked in around 5,800 RPM, transforming the engine completely. Below that, smooth and refined. Above it, the engine came alive, pulling hard to redline with that unmistakable Honda howl. But the real magic was the handling. Honda engineered it with a low center of gravity and a surprisingly sharp chassis. Double wishbone suspension gave it handling dynamics that belonged in a sports car. It carved through corners with precision and balance that embarrassed sportier looking vehicles. The steering was direct and communicative. Turn-in was sharp, body roll was minimal, drive it hard, and the Odyssey responded with enthusiasm. Inside was typical Honda practicality. 3 rows, configurable space, quality materials. You could genuinely use this as family transportation. But that manual transmission reminded you this wasn't just a hauler, it was a driver's car disguised as one. The RA1 Odyssey never made it to North America in this form. What Americans got years later was completely different. The JDM original remained a secret. This is the ultimate sleeper, a minivan that handles like a go-kart, a family car with VTEC and a manual transmission, a vehicle so deceptive that explaining it requires convincing people you're not making it up.